Hi, this is Kelly Broaddus with Broaddus Properties Group, and I have a very special guest today, Tiffany Taradash Whalen with CrossCountry Mortgage. And we're going to have a discussion today about what people are doing, buyers and sellers are doing to combat these amazing interest rates. And do we think they're going to go even higher? Anyway, take it away, Tiffany.
Well, I wouldn't doubt if they're going to go higher right now. The feds did mention that they may raise again before the end of the year. So we are being as creative as possible. There's lots of strategies to get these rates down, get them where buyers are comfortable with the rate and comfortable with the payment.
And it takes educating the sellers too, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. So there is some programs out there that the sellers can actually contribute more towards rate buy down than the buyers. The government does have regulations over how much the buyers can pay for their own rate buy down. And they have it for the sellers as well, but the sellers is higher than the buyers. For instance, if the buyer is putting 25% down, the seller can contribute up to 9% of the loan amount towards closing costs and rate. I know that's a lot of money. And you take that money and you use it towards rate buy down, you can get that rate easily into the fives, if not even below that, because you can take a portion of it and buy down permanently, and then like in the fives, and then you can piggyback on top of that with a temporary buy down where you're getting a really, really low rate the first year. Yeah, a little bit higher the second, and then your fixed rate from the third to the 30th year. It's pretty confusing just on a call like this, but lots of good information and ways to get that rate down that people are really excited about.
So one question I have, so if somebody is putting 25% down, say, and let's say the seller's like, I don't know if let's say the house doesn't, it appraises at sales price, right? And let's say, buyers putting 25% down, you can't use any of that towards to go over list, or, like we did with that one on Little. Can you do that?
Yeah, so this is how it works. If you wanted to put an offer in at list price or over list price, obviously the appraisal needs to come in. So it has to be on a property that you feel confident in the appraisal. And let's say that you go over what you want to offer by $50,000. Then you can take that $50,000, as long as it appraised for that amount, you can take that $50,000 that you have already negotiated in the contract to get the 50 back from the seller and use that money towards rate buy down. Now, if we did the calculation, that 50,000 going towards rate buy down is going to save you much more than if you got the lower price by 50,000, because the dollar for dollar on the price and loan amount is as far as monthly payment is a lot less than if you took a rate from 7.5 down to 5.5. That's going to impact your payment a lot more.
So, and then you can combine that if the buyer has extra money, you can combine the seller's contribution with the buyer's contribution. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yep. So if you had already budgeted that you were going to do 25% down plus pay your closing costs and maybe a point or two for rate, if that was already in your budget, then you have that seller money to just add to and really get a low rate.
Can you give us an example of one that you have recently done and how it, what the price of the house was and how it impacted their payment?
Sure. So I have actually, yep. So we're closing one next week, and they're so excited. What they did was the price was listed at 1.1 million. The borrower wanted to offer 1,030, so 1,030,000. And after I talked to him, I said, why don't you go in at the 1.1, so you're offering full price in this scenario, and ask for the $70,000 towards rate buy down rather than taking 70,000 off the price. So after they negotiated it, the sellers agreed to that. And of course, there's some coaching and explaining to the seller as well that this money, it comes off of their expenses, so they're not taxed on the higher number. That extra 70,000 comes off the net sheet. And so it's even for the seller. They are not paying any more money than what they had budgeted for too. So then that money, that $70,000, was used to buy the rate down to 5.75. And then we did that temporary buy down. So we got it to 3.75 for the first year, 0.75 and 5.75. And that 5.75 is fixed from the third to the 30th year. So it's not a full arm. It's just you're prepaying those first 2 years to have a lower interest rate and a lower payment. And they were ecstatic.
Wow. That's amazing.
They wanted to pay off their loan within the first 5 years. So what we did is we did the math on the return on their investment, right? So using that 70,000 towards rate, their return with what they wanted to pay down in big chunks ended up to be less than that 5 years. So the math made a lot of sense.
So educating sellers, can you just talk a little bit about what agents should say to their sellers? Let's say when they're taking a listing, what is the script? What do you say?
I'm not a real estate agent, so I'm not sure what your script is currently. I have heard some agents mention that they don't really talk to the seller about what their bottom line is, what they will actually take on this home until, time goes by and they're presenting an offer and things like that. But I think there needs to be some type of conversation around that in the beginning, however your typical style is, where you say, okay, we need to be creative on, offering rate buy downs so that you can put in your listing in MLS, wherever, real estate agents read. What's the first thing you read? Is it the description of the property? Maybe put right in the very beginning of that, seller is willing to pay for rate buy down or rate buy down specials, or, something where the buyer's agent can say, hey, what are they going to do about the rate buy down? And so if the seller's already prepped for that, will you give 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 towards rate buy down, which is going to adjust your price up or down? I think that needs to be the conversation with the seller so they understand it in the beginning.
So if sellers, if agents are having a hard time explaining it, are you open to talking with the sellers as well?
Oh, absolutely. And we do that a lot. Yeah. My phone number is 480-205-5390. And my email is tiffanyt@ccm.com. And this information is, high level. It's pretty, involved. So please feel free to call me and I can review certain scenarios, give you some ideas. We can go over the numbers so it makes sense.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Again, this is Kelly Broaddus, Broaddus Properties Group. You can reach me at 928-606-6749. We have a lot of tricks in our bag, so give us a call and we're happy to help you.